I'll start.
Well, I was just trying to get some sort of chronological.
He was born in 1919 in Coonawarra. He did his schooling in Coonawarra and Narracourt, and then joined his father in Rouge Homme, at the Rouge Homme winery. It wasn't called Rouge Homme then, but his father's winery in Coonawarra in 1937. So his first vintage was with his dad William was in 1937. Then shortly after that, he went away to war for 4 or 5 years and came back to Coonawarra after the Second World War, and worked in Coonawarra up until his death in 1989. So he basically was born and bred and spent his whole life in Coonawarra, apart from 4 or 5 years away during the Second World War.
He was pretty much born into it. As growing up, though, the Redman family were very much mixed farming, I guess. That it wasn't just the vineyards and the winery. There was a lot of sheep and cattle and cropping done by the family as well. So to a small degree, the winemaking was only a small part of the family enterprise. But of course, as the wine started to take off in Coonawarra after the war, that the wine side of it became a little bit more important to the family, and hence that the winery and the vineyard did grow a bit over the years.
A lot of the famous Coonawarra wines, the Woodley's Treasure Chest series wines, some of the early Wynns wines, and even some of the Woodley's clarets going way back to the 20s and 30s were wines that were made predominantly with Shiraz. Later in the 40s and 50s, the sort of accepted Coonawarra blend was a 2/3 Shiraz, 1/3 Cabernet blend. When Dad started the Redman winery in 1966, his plan was to produce one wine only, and that was to be called claret, and a 2/3 Shiraz, 1/3 Cabernet blend. So as he bought and established vineyards, the ratio of vines was 2/3 Shiraz and 1/3 Cabernet, which it still is today pretty much. For various reasons, the first 3 vintages or 4 vintages out of under the Redman label from 1966 to 69 were all straight Shiraz, because there was no Cabernet available. So he made a straight Shiraz. The first Cabernet grapes available were in 1970. Our then distributors said, "Well, you've only got a couple of hundred gallons or 900 litres of Cabernet Sauvignon. That'd be silly to put with the Shiraz. It'll get lost and you won't be able to taste it. So why not release or bottle it off in magnums and sell it separately? And then next year, when you get a bit more, you go to your claret blend." Well, as it transpired, the Cabernet sold so well that the 2/3 Shiraz, 1/3 Cabernet blend never eventuated, and we just for the next 30 or 40 years, we just made Shiraz as claret and Cabernet Sauvignon as Cabernet Sauvignon.